Hi there folks, welcome to RRTV's live coverage of the RacingLeagues.com Oceanic GT series. We're coming to you live tonight from Imola for round 2 of this awesome series, and your commentary team tonight is myself, Bernie Weemers. We have Wayne Pangilly and Colin Bruns in the com box. So welcome, Colin, to tonight. It's going to be interesting racing.
Yeah, cheers mate, cheers viewers. Yeah, it's going to be a good night, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and what about you, Wayne? You're looking forward to, I think this is the first time you've called a race?
It is, Bernie, it is, yeah, obviously a little bit nervous, but yeah, it should be a good night, mate. We've obviously got Dan Stevens here. He's just come off of a massive win there at Daytona 500 for the NASCAR series. So, you know, let's see if fatigue's going to, you know, play with him tonight.
Yeah, well, it's been pretty good for Team MMFR because Danny G took out the Xfinity race. Daniel Stevens took out the Daytona 500, and we'll see what the guys can do tonight. But just having a look at the moment, folks, on the calendar, of course, we're here at Imola for the Imola Grand Prix. Next week, though, we go to Brands Hatch, and that's for round 3. So that's going to be very exciting to see how the GT3s cope with that circuit.
Just looking at the times here at the moment, mate, we've got Alex Bird there with a 140.482 at the moment, sitting on top. Dave Kidman from MFI closely behind. And Jamie McKnight at the moment in the top 3 from PSS, Jamie McKnight.
Yeah, so the guys are out there qualifying at the moment, folks. Another 9 minutes of quali. So if we have a look at those times, Alexander Bird, provisional pole, as Wayne said, 144.83. David Kidmont, 141.030. Jamie McKnight, he's come on leaps and bounds, and he's sitting provisionally 3rd at the moment. Gavin Cox 4th, 5th Kai Sloggett. But one thing, Colin, the guys are going to have to keep an eye out for is the way these cars handle. We saw them last week at Oceania, and every single make of car gave their drivers trouble. Normally on turn in or mid corner, the back end seemed to lose a bit.
Yeah, Bernie, yeah, including myself, I was on there, and I was having quite a few dramas with the car and ended up bending it into the wall. But it's definitely going to be an interesting race. The guys were saying it's going to be freezing, or the track's freezing, so see what happens.
Yeah, if we have a look at that weather at the moment, it's overcast, only 23 degrees Celsius. Wish it was that cool here, to be honest. 73 degrees Fahrenheit. As far as the race goes tonight, folks, it's going to be a 60-minute time certain race. It'll be a rolling start. Full course cautions. There will be no lucky dog. If or when we get a restart, it'll be single file restart. As far as fast repairs go, they get 1, and there'll be 1 random safety car that nobody knows when that'll come out. It's been basically generated by a computer, and you can't get fairer than that, Wayne.
Yeah, I think the safety car is going to be definitely throw the cat amongst the pigeons for sure, because we did see last week that there was a little bit of a gap there with a few of the PSS guys, with I believe it was Griffiths and also who was second now? Sorry, mate, I've gone blank with it.
That's all right.
I think it was Matt Stratford actually. So they had a really good battle there, and also Jamie McKnight. But they sort of stretched their legs a little bit there around mid race, and were able to pull away from some of the other guys there. So that random safety car is definitely going to potentially, you know, do someone a lot of good and someone a lot of not so good.
Yeah, that's right, and because no one knows when it's coming out, no one can benefit from it, basically. If they do, well, that's just plain luck or good planning on their behalf. But also, folks that are new to this series, thank you for joining us on iRacing Live. It's basically a weekly GT3 series based in the Oceanic region, and it's a time certain race, as we said. Like all great GT3 races, it's a multi-car make series, single class though. So as you can see, the favourite car generally is a Mercedes, but we do have some Ferraris out there. As you can see, Gavin Cox is in the DeWalt Ferrari, and we've also got some Audis out there, if we can find them, and a couple of BMWs. So most of the makes are represented here tonight.
Well, from what most of the drivers say, and in particular myself, we also went with the Merc. It seems to be a more balanced car, but I definitely think the Ferrari's going to be strong on this track, mate.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Like last week, I was expecting to see the Merc pull away from the Ferrari down the straights, but that just was not the case. The Ferrari had enough legs to keep up with that big V8, and I think the Mercedes is going to find it a bit trickier through these chicanes. That's just my opinion. I haven't actually driven the car around here, but that's what I'd be expecting.
Just looking at the timesheets there, Bernie, Dave Kittleman's jumped to second, pipping Jamie McKnight.
Yeah, that's right. He did a great time, a 141.302. 030, sorry. He beat him by what, 500ths of a second. So we'll see if Jamie comes out and challenges that. But you know, if you start in the first two rows here, generally you can stay out of trouble, hopefully. But a field of 16 cars here tonight, folks, so it's quite a small field. So I wouldn't expect too much biff and barge going on around here. Yeah, so we might jump on board here with Gavin and just have a listen to the beautiful sounds of this Ferrari as he's out on a hot lap at the moment. Downshifts down into third gear and flat out back up to, should be up to fourth, fifth. Just bringing up my track map. It's a rather interesting circuit this, and quite a challenging circuit in some areas, Colin.
Sorry, buddy, I'm just I've got a mic issue here.
That's alright, no worries. So as we can see now, he's just coming up the back here into, God, I wish I could read my track map. So I tell you what, Wayne, Gavin's absolutely throwing this car around at the moment. He's sitting in fifth with a time of 141.797, and we'll see if he can better that as he comes around. And as you can see, folks, on the telemetry there, he's at 134 now as he comes back onto the start-finish straight, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce this. He's a bit slow though, 142.147. That's just not going to be good enough to improve. In fact, it was a bit slower than his previous time by about 1 second.
Yeah, I will say, just looking at the car from the cockpit view here, Bernie, that it does look pretty solid. So I think Bernie's going to have a good race set up. Knowing Gavin from racing leagues, he's quite a strategic sort of driver. He's more in the longer stints, mate. He's not always the best qualifier, but through the race, mate, he's always there at the end.
Yeah, and that's when it counts, and we'll see how he goes tonight in this Ferrari. It's very well presented, probably one of the best presented cars out there, but looks don't win races. Comes down to strategy and good driving and a great setup. And at the moment, as you were saying there, Wayne, his setup, the car does look stable through those corners. He's getting the power down nicely, doesn't look too loose, and that's going to go a long way when it comes to this 60-minute enduro tonight.
looking at the gap there between Dave Kittelman and Jamie McKnight. There's still absolutely nothing in it, but Jamie hasn't been able to improve on his time yet.
Yeah, no doubt Jamie will be trying to improve. He's actually sitting in the pit, so...
Yeah, just noticed that, yeah. I know Jamie is in the 12-hour tonight, Bernie, so maybe he's rehydrating now, ready for it.
Yeah, that kicks off midnight, I think, doesn't it?
It is, mate, yep.
It's going to be a heck of a night for a lot of people here down under. You can see Tom Kleeman at the moment in the beautifully presented Audi, and he's just coming through to start his hot lap very shortly. He should be able to get that in before he runs out of time. Best time for Tom Kleeman, 1:42.825. So he's got a fair bit of time to pull in if he hopes to get into the top 6 here tonight.
That is a great looking car, isn't it?
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? And he's not going to go around again. So maybe he's just testing the setup for this race, because no doubt all the guys would be looking at what they can do now to turn these qualifying cars into race-ready cars. And we'll be going onto the grid very shortly, folks. 19 seconds to go. Having a look out there, we've got Troy Allen in the big, well, they're not big, but they look big, Mercedes, that beautifully sounding rumble of the V8.
Yeah, I would have expected Troy to be up the list a little bit more there, Bernie. He drove phenomenal last week and was right up there near the pointy end of the field. Yeah, unfortunately, I do believe he ran out of fuel, but...
Yeah, he did. A few of the MFR guys did run out of fuel, didn't they? And he had to limp it down, and while he was trying to get it across the line, the winner, Matt Stratford, was doing donuts on the line, and poor Troy was wondering which way to go to just limp it. But he went a good quarter of a lap without fuel at least. So for all the folks just joining us here tonight, it's basically going to be a 60-minute time certain race here tonight. Rolling start, full course cautions, no lucky dog, single file restarts. They get only one fast repair. Starting track state is at 0%, so that should come in as the race progresses. We've just come off a 20-minute qualifying session, and we're about to go into the race session. So if you joined us just in the nick of time here. And it's been a big day on RRTV. If you didn't join us earlier, well, we had the Daytona 500. And if you didn't see that, go and check it out. That was a good race. And then, of course, last night we had the Porsche Carrera Cup, and we also had the Australian Online Supercar Championships. And the night before that, we had the Thursday Night Thunder at Daytona with the Xfinity cars. So plenty of viewing there for anyone who has missed that.
I bet you've had a few coffees over the weekend so far, Bernie.
Not many, mate. I ran out of coffee. I don't even have a coffee here. Got no water. Don't even have a beer. Nothing. I'm just going on pure passion. And as I said that, we lost 2 viewers. Oh well, they might come back. So we're just waiting now for qualifying to time out here, folks. Then we're going to go through the grid. In fact, we might start that now, and you can see where your favourite drivers are going to start tonight. So having a look at the grid, Alexander Bird, he's going to start off in pole position. He's set a time of a 1:40.483. David Kinmont, he'll start second. His best time, a 1:41.030. Jamie McKnight will start in the second row out of third. He's joined with Kai Sloggett next to him, starting out of fourth. Out of the third row tonight is Gavin Cox in the Ferrari, and next to him will be Daniel Stevens in, I think he's in a Mercedes. Looking further down the field, starting out of seventh tonight is Mark Gow, and he's joined on the grid by Troy Allen. Steve O'Connor from the UK, he'll start out of ninth, and James Bell too. he'll start out at 10th tonight. Blair Walton, starting in 11th. Tom Kleeman, he'll start out at 12th. Out of 13th tonight is Darren Goosey. And then we've got Bruce Duncan too, also from the UK. And Norman Clark starting out at 15. He's got his son next to him, Roger Clark, both in BMWs tonight and both backing up from the Daytona 500 today. And then, of course, we don't have Wayne there or Colin because they're up here with me. And it's going to be very interesting, but a bit more detail about this series, folks. It's actually raced in 2 legs. We're covering the Australian side of this racingleagues.com series. Then they also have a European friendly time zone where they race the same round as this. So it's a bit of an international flavour. If anyone's wondering where racingleagues.com has come from, well, they're very big in R Factor 2 and they go back to about 2001 and lots of experience here in doing these sort of events, and they're now turning their attention to iRacing, so it's great to have them come to our great platform.
About to get going.
Yep, the heart rates will be rising here. We can see the safety car ready to lead them off. Looks like we've got a Ferrari on the front row and a Mercedes right next to them, so a good mix of marks there. See the BMWs up the back. Doesn't look like they've made much of an impression so far, but we'll see how they go as they start rolling here at Imola for round 2 of the Oceanic GT series. Tell you what, that DeWalt Ferrari is doing a few hops there. I don't know if you boys saw it, but it reminds me of those cars that jump up and down on the springs. All right, folks, hold on to you.
Gavin's got a few issues there with his internet, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it. Here we go, folks, coming down to the start. Alexander Bird, he will have control. Keep an eye on Gavin Cox, though, because Gavin's got a lot of internet problems. He's pulled out by the looks of it, but Gavin Cox has bolted, absolutely bolted, and we have having a look at this at the moment as David Kinmond in second. Jamie McKnight, he was having a look on the inside, couldn't quite pull it off, but now he's having a go as they go too wide, contact behind them, and Jamie McKnight took a very, very cheeky move there and jumped up to second. And you're saying Gavin Cox, yeah, look, that's not the way we want to see a Ferrari, but we'll have a quick look at the replay of that. I'm not really surprised because he was having a lot of trouble with his connection, and as we can see, he's flashing in and out all the way down the start-finish straight here. And
sorry, Ben.
Yeah, we'll just have a look at what happened to him.
Yeah, we just had Mark Gow go off as well.
Yeah, we're just trying to... Yeah, he basically just disappeared, and that's what caused Gavin Cox to crash out. Mark Gow, as you said, he's also had a bit of an off, but let's jump back up to the front because we've got Alexander Bird at the moment. He's leading Jamie McKnight, Kai Sloggett. Kai's moved up to third position. Both these drivers have jumped David Kinmond, who's sitting in fourth, and rounding out your top 5 is Daniel Stevens.
Yeah, Jamie McKnight got a great jump at the start there. He's moved up a few positions and a little bit of hip and shoulder onto Dave Kidman there too in the first few corners.
Yeah, well, it was a pretty aggressive move by Jamie, wasn't it? But I'll tell you what, he knows how to place that car, and he's not shy of sticking it up the inside, is he?
No, definitely not. I wouldn't. It was probably a little bit ambitious being the start of the race, but hey, he's gained a position and he's chasing down the leader.
Yeah, that's right, and it wasn't a bad move because they did run panels, and David went wide off, but it wasn't like a bump and run type move. So as a racing driver, you make any position you can as long as it's made fairly, and that's exactly what he did. But we're riding now with Steve O'Connor in the other DeWalt Ferrari, and it's looking better than the previous one we saw. currently sitting in 6th position, and you can just see as he's going up the hill, the Mercedes just starts pulling away from him as the grunt of that big V8 kicks in.
Yeah, right in between Dan Stevens and Troy Allen, the two MFR cars as well. So, Troy's looking for a move here.
Steve just made a mistake.
Yeah, he ran wide there, didn't he? And there's contact. Oh dear. I thought he was going to join his teammate parked on the side of the road there. That was a nasty, nasty incident. We'll have a look back at that at slow-mo, and we'll see if we can work out what's going on here and what's caused this incident. Yeah, having a look at that, it looks like the 06 came across. Well, not the 06, sorry. It looks like the Ferrari's come across the nose of the Mercedes. I don't know if he knew he was there, but it looked like he was going wide to get that that line, and there was just nowhere to go for the Mercedes driver.
Yeah, that's just a pure racing incident there.
Yeah, he probably wasn't aware he was up there.
Very lucky to miss the Walt car as well.
Yeah, well, that's right. And that car's stranded, of course, on the side of the road. And if he had to hit his teammate, well, that would have been one heck of a show.
There's been a few words in the garage, that's for sure. Would have been quite expensive.
Yeah, they're not cheap, are they? But having a look at the moment, Alexander Bird, has bolted. He's the only one in the 141s, and he's doing an awesome job there. It looks like he's in a McLaren, so that's awesome to see a McLaren out. They don't seem to get much love, but he's doing a good job there. Then, of course, Jamie McKnight, he's trying to hunt him down. The gap 2.8 seconds at the moment, folks, and it's going in favour of Alexander Bird. And then we've got Kai Sloggett defending against David Kinmond. One of the viewers said they reckon the balance of power next week is going to possibly give the Audi a bit of a hand in performance. So that's something to keep an eye out on.
Well, that's what it's all about, isn't it, with these GT3 cars, is, some are going to be favourable on certain tracks, and that's what sort of evens the field and makes for exciting racing.
Yeah, exactly right, and that's what we want to see in this multi-make race. And tell you what, Blair Walton, he's doing an awesome job here. He's the first of the BMW drivers, and he's sitting up there in 7th at the moment, and doing a good job. As we see that poor DeWalt Ferrari once again reappearing in the middle of the sky and falling back down to earth.
Yeah, you've got to really feel for Gavin. He obviously, set a good quality time, and to go to the race like that is unfortunate, but that's sim racing, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's like any racing, isn't it? You get the technical glitches kick in. I know this morning Norman Clark, he found when he was going to start warming up for the Daytona 500 and doing his preparation that his wheel had died, and he had to go and grab another wheel just so he could go running. I think he spent the morning pulling his wheel apart trying to resurrect it, but it just wasn't going to come back to life for him.
I'll tell you what, Bernie, just looking at the times here, the car on the move at the moment is Dan Stevens there. It's just done a 1:42.3. Yeah,
Dan is he's sitting in 5th at the moment. He's trying to catch up with Kinmond and Sloggett here, and I think they're all in the same team, aren't they?
They are, mate. Yeah.
Can always tell. Sorry.
As we said, obviously Dan had that victory today, so he's having quite the race. Hopefully, he can get a good result again here.
He'll definitely be looking at a good result if he can. He's in 5th position, as we said. He can see his quarry ahead of him, well, his teammates in this case, and just driving around with him now, having a look at the way this car's handling. It seems to be handling quite well. He's not really working that wheel too much, and I'd say he's pretty happy with that setup.
through the pack a bit here too, Bernie. Seems to be a bit of a three-car battle between Blair, Steve O'Connor and James Bell at the moment.
Yeah, you can see at the moment Steve is in the BMW there. He's got a Ferrari of James Bell behind him, and then James Bell is chasing Stephen O'Connor, two Ferraris. They're trying to chase down Blair Walton in the BMW. And I tell you what, that BMW is doing a good job keeping out front of these blokes. So, Colin, what's your favourite car to drive in the GT series?
To be honest with you, Bernie, I've only ran the Merc, so I don't really have a good view on that one.
Oh, Ferrari just got in the back of that BMW, letting him know. You could see how good that Ferrari is under brakes, going wide now. He's going to have a crack at him coming down the start-finish straight, but look at the BMW. He's got the legs, and he's saying no thank you very much.
That BMW's definitely got some horsepower there.
It's got a lot of grunt, hasn't it? Where it suffers, though, is under brakes. As you see here, the Ferraris, that's where they're closing up. And tell you what, I like the look of that red Ferrari, but I guess, that's the true colour of a Ferrari.
Oh, is that Kidman? Kidman in front of the guys. He's had a spin.
Kidman has?
Yes, yep.
You sure? He's still going around. We'll jump back in.
Got Tom Kleeman behind him. Good looking paint job.
Yeah, and the Audi. That's the first of the Audis there, and sitting in sixth position. And then, of course, back to this battle. Looks like we've lost the red Ferrari. That might have been what you saw there, Wayne.
Just going back now, Dave definitely had a spin.
Okay. I'm just going to have a look back here at James Bell as well, because he's also had a spin. And then we'll go back and see if we can see what's happened to Dave Kinmond.
Oh, I nearly lost it coming out the last corner.
Just having a look at this replay now, folks, as coming to the top of the circuit, and as he turned it in, he basically got the rear wheel out on that grass, and that brought the Ferrari around pretty much, and that's what happened to him. Now the other one was David Kinmond, you were saying, Wayne.
Yeah, he's had a spin too, mate. Now back in fourth.
Okay.
Fifth, sorry.
Yeah, so we'll have a look at this. You're right. Looks like he has had that spin. We'll see exactly what's happened to him, and we've jumped back to where he was just in between his teammates here.
Steve O'Connor getting back on the back of Blair Walton.
Yeah, so that
good little battle.
Yeah, that spin basically happened at the start of that chicane there, Wayne. He's come in, sliding it, corrected it, went across the ripple strips, totally missed, and then spun out, basically. So what was that, Colin?
I was just keeping an eye on Blair and Steve O'Connor. They're still battling out. That little Beamer's definitely got some poke to it.
Yeah, it certainly does, but check the Ferrari out under brakes. This is where it climbs all over the back of it, and that's where he rear-ended him under brakes about 2 laps ago as they come down the hill here. Last 2 laps ago, he actually ran up the back of him, and this time he knows the BMW is going to brake earlier than what he's expecting for his Ferrari, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's right.
The Ferrari's just had a slowdown there. Steve O'Connor, so he's caught a slowdown and he's had to address that. That's given Blair Walton a chance to get a bit of a gap and take a bit of a breath here. Meanwhile, tell you what, Alexander Bird, he's in lapping in the 141s. Jamie McKnight, he's also in the 141s, but that gap now is 5.3 seconds as we come up to complete lap 7 here.
Alexander's absolutely flying.
Yeah, it's the only McLaren in the series tonight, and we had none last week, but it's great to see it there. And of course you can tell it's a McLaren because it has the afterburners off every time it brakes. I've seen them in real life. They don't have that much flame coming out of the back of them.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the rear wing to catch on fire.
Exactly. But they're a beautiful car when you see them in the flesh. There's a bloke or a lady, don't know where they've come from, but I was coming home from work, and at our local little shopping centre here there's a beautiful orange McLaren parked in the childcare car park, believe it or not.
Wouldn't mind getting picked up one of those.
Yeah. So looking at our retirement so far, folks, we've lost Darren Goosey in the 186. He's retired. Gavin Cox also looks like he's nowhere to be seen, but he's got really bad connection issues, so I feel for him tonight. He hasn't given up. I think he's in the pits at this stage.
Yeah, that's correct.
First of our pitters comes in. That's Daniel Stevens on lap 8. He's decided he's going to do his stop now, and the question will be, can he come home in that from here, basically?
That's quite an interesting move, isn't it, with the random safety car? Is he just trying to sort of cover his backside, if you will, in case that safety car does come out? We do know these GT3 cars, you know, in relation to tyre wear, they're quite good on the tyres, so there'll be no need for tyres, but obviously fuel.
Yeah, and if you're wondering, folks, why they have to pit in an hour, well, they're fuel limited, basically, to ensure that they have one compulsory stop. As Wayne said, they won't take tyres. In fact, last week we saw some drivers take tyres, and there was absolutely no advantage to it compared to the guys that did not take tyres. But yeah, I'd say Daniel Stevens there, his stop was 22.2 seconds. I would say he's just trying to cover that potential of when that safety car comes out. We've seen it in the AOSC where people have tried to, you know, go very deep into the race. Sometimes it's worked, but if the safety car comes out and the others have pitted, it can go against you. But, you know, if I was racing, I'd just race to my strategy, I think.
The time board here, see Bird and McKnight, the only cars keeping in the 41s.
Yeah, that's right. The rest of them are in the 42s. But having a look at that, tell you what, Alexander Bird last time by, he did a time of 1:41.089. He's nearly into the 40s.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Jamie can maybe build, and if he's, you know, if he's got a good race car, and maybe can continue to build and do those consecutive laps and slowly maybe chip away.
Yeah, well, that's right. And the other thing is he doesn't have to worry about that gap at the moment because he knows that a random safety car will come out. The race really gets interesting after that random safety car comes out but then they're pretty much racing to the finish line, and a gap of 6.7 seconds would be a real worry.
Just looking at the bit of a battle pack here, I think Steve O'Connor's going to have a little bit of company soon again.
Yeah, well, he's got Mark Gow in the Xbox One Mercedes behind him, and then Tom Kleeman. Oh, Tom's into the wall. That's your fault. You made me talk about him.
Commentator's curse. There goes that nice paint job.
This is what we. I was going to say, this is what we've seen last week. Have a look at these cars when he comes out. They all seem at times to be very nervous on turn in. So just having a look at this, he's turned in. He's basically
Gone around again, Bernie.
Oh, no, his car's got so much damage.
Yeah, so he's basically clipped the ripple strip, and then on the outside, that's when he's lost it, and into the wall he goes. But you're saying, oh yeah, that car's toast, isn't it? The motor's gone, and he's got a fast repair, so that'll get him out of jail. But yeah, you don't want to see a nice car like that, looking like that.
Well, now we've got Mark Lowe all over the back of Steve O'Connor, looking for a move.
Yeah, so Mark caught up pretty quick, didn't he? And he's coming up now on the outside, having a look on the inside. He's gonna do it. Too wide through here. Good move there. He makes it, and no contact.
Yeah, that was a nice clean move there.
Got Kinman, a bit of Kai in sight now.
Yeah, and I tell you what, Steve O'Connor, he's just had another slowdown. That's the second one we've seen him tonight, so he's going to have to be less aggressive on those curbs, I think.
Yeah, the last thing you need is a slow down. It's hard enough to gain any time on someone ahead, so just need to be very careful.
Yeah, that's right. It's pretty much given him a free kick.
We've got James Bell now on the rear of him nearly.
Yeah, I was just looking back at Roger Clark's car. It's looking a bit second-hand already, that BMW. Classic paint job, but it's looking about as beat up as his NASCAR was earlier today. Looks like we've lost another driver. Tom Kleeman looks like he's got out of that car, and that happened just after his pit stop. Darren Goosey, as we said, is also retired. Gavin Cox is in all sorts of trouble, and the only person that's really stopped out there is Daniel Stevens, and he stopped very early.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if these the other drivers are realising that there is that random safety car that in play, because yeah, they're staying out there for quite a while. What are we now, lap 12?
Yeah, well, I guess, you know, we're at 39 minutes to go, so basically that safety car could come out at any time, really, whether it's early in the race, late in the race, wherever. I guess so all they can really do is probably drive to their strategy. What would you do if you were out there, Wayne?
Look, I think what Dan's done is he's rolled the dice a little bit.
Dave Kinman's got Kai.
So we'll just go on the action now.
Sorry, buddy.
It's all right, go ahead, Wayne.
Yeah, I think Dan Stevens has rolled the dice a little bit, knowing that, you know, the cars are quite good and they're not going to need tyres. I think it's probably a smart move, to be honest with you, Bernie.
Yeah, well, he's out there in fresh air pretty much, isn't he? So he can just do his laps, and he knows that as these guys come into pit, that he's going to catch them. He's 74 seconds behind the lead at the moment, and he's coming up on Roger Clark. And I tell you what, I thought the car looked bad last time. Is that Roger or is that Norman? Is Norman's car's looking as beat up as his son's at this stage? No, it's Roger.
Yeah, it's looking quite second-hand, isn't it?
So, folks, looking at the top 10 as they stand now, Alexander Bird's leading. He's basically led all 12 laps of this race. Jamie McKnight, second. Third, David Kinmond. Fourth, Kai Sloggett. Mark Gow sits in fifth. Steve O'Connor, sixth. James Bell, seventh. Eighth, Blair Walton. Ninth, Troy Allen. And Roger Clark rounds out our top 10.
And I'll tell you what, Bernie, just looking at the laps, you know, Bird, how consecutive that, you know, he's been a consistent mate with his times. If you have a look at those, you know, he's kept in the 41s the whole time. He's cracked out at 140. Very consistent times, fast times too.
Yeah, and he's on lap 13 now. So these laps are ticking down very quickly. 37 minutes to go in this race, and he's pretty much led everyone, hasn't he? 8.6 seconds is the gap back to Jamie McKnight. So just in the last 3 laps, he's pulled out a good 1.5 seconds. Yeah, so we just heard, trying to work out who that was in the, who was it in the Audi that we saw Bennett?
Was that was Tom Kleeman.
Tom Kleeman. Yeah, we just heard from Tom, and he was basically saying that he had no time to prepare, and Imola's not really his thing. So they've pretty much parked what was left of that Audi, and here comes...
We've got the yellow. We've got a yellow.
So the random safety car's coming out now, and that's interesting because the only person who has stopped is Daniel Stevens, and we'll see what happens. Is he going to come back in and fill up, or is he going to stay out? I guess if he can get home from here, he'd probably stay out. Question is, though, what is the rest of the field going to do? What would you do, Colin, if you were out there and the random safety cars just come out?
I think I'd just get in there, just get a bit of fuel and just push on, to be honest.
Yeah, because barring a big accident, there won't be another safety car, and it's pretty much going to be a race to the end. And we're just at the 35-minute mark to go, so it's come out pretty much almost halfway, probably about 45% through the race.
Yeah, I think the biggest enemy to these guys is themselves. They're just coming out of the corners and losing it on the rumble strip and sending them in the wall. So you can keep playing, get enough fuel, just push on and push through.
Yeah. Well, these cars are pretty stiffly sprung, so they really do not like riding the ripple strips or the curbs very much at all, and I think that's what we've seen on a few of these cars spinning, either wheels on the grass or up on the curb. There's just unsettling them a bit.
Just while we're under the yellow, Bernie, we can see Dave's managed to pass Kai Sloggett somewhere along there, just before the safety car.
Okay. Yeah, he's out in front. Hopefully he hasn't passed under yellow.
I tell you what, Jamie would be happy to see the back of Alexander at the moment. Should be a good start again.
Yeah, as we go to the blimp view, it's going to be interesting though. What Jamie, I think, needs to do. I think he needs to get in front of Alexander as quickly as he can, and try to control the race. Because if he's going to let Alexander go once more, he's not going to see him.
Well, let's see what they do. Is Jamie going to follow Alexander into the pits, or is he going to stay out?
I think he'd have to. He'd be silly not to, wouldn't he?
Well, yeah. I think he's just got to mimic whatever Alexander does, really.
He does, and then hope that wherever they start in the field, if Alexander's not out front, that he can actually get him before that McLaren gets up to speed. You can see now the pit lane will be opened, and just having a look.
They're all in.
Yeah, I was waiting for the NASCAR move, but he didn't do it. So see one of the red.
James Bell.
Is that the red Ferrari going through?
Yeah, he's continuing on.
It's looking like Bell's the only car to stay out, and obviously Stevens, I would imagine.
Stevens is in.
Oh, that's interesting.
So Daniel Stevens coming back in once more. So is he opting to throw tyres on this while they're under safety car conditions?
That is very interesting.
If he's got the fuel, would be a smart move.
We're just using the blimp cam here, folks, because it gives us the best view of the pits here. Just having a look. There goes the McLaren. And yeah, he's just got out in front.
We got Dan in front of Jamie.
Yeah, Jamie's right on his rear end, isn't he?
What a pit stop. What a pit stop.
So yeah, that's Daniel Stevens jumps Jamie McKnight through the pits, and tell you what, looking at those times, he's just come in and topped off. 11 seconds was his stop. 18.2 to Alexander Bird, 18.7 to Jamie McKnight, and 18.2 to David Kinmont.
That was a great move.
I'll tell you what, Bernie, let's try and get him on team comms, mate, and see if we can have a little chat to him while under yellow.
Who's that?
Dan Stevens.
Okay, I'll bring him up and you can have a chat with him.
Dan, it's just got you in the comms box here, mate. It's Wayne, Colin and Bernie. Just wondering, mate, you just took a little bit of fuel there. You jumped about 3 or 4 cars at least in the pits there, mate. What's can we get an insight to your strategy?
Well, I had to take 33 litres in my next stop to get home. So I thought, well, instead of taking a big stop later, maybe under green, I thought I'd just top it up to now. And so now I only need 3 litres to get myself home. So my next stop is going to be a real splash and dash. But
Yeah, well-
good.
How's the car feeling, Dan?
No, the car's feeling really, really good. I made the mistake last week by taking tyres, so I didn't make the same mistake twice, and she's still got some grip under it, so it's feeling really good.
Fantastic.
All right, mate. Well, sorry, Bernie.
I was just going to ask him if he thinks he's got anything he can throw at this McLaren at the moment.
Yeah, well, that guy Bird is pretty quick. I'm just fascinated about these flames that shoot out the back of this thing. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, just get some steaks, you'll be right. All right, Dan, we'll let you focus. The safety car lights are out, so we're going green this time by.
All the best.
Bernie, thank you.
Good luck, buddy.
Guys.
So I was wrong there. We'll have to do another pit stop before the end of this race.
Wow. I mean, would you put a little bit of money on Dan Stevens with that small top-up, the splash and dash now?
Well, it's definitely going to play into it, isn't it?
We do know he can fuel save quite well, so yes, he might be onto something here.
And he's the only one doing that strategy. He'll have a shorter stop than the rest of them. But here we go, folks. James Bell in the bright red Ferrari. He'll lead them off. He has not stopped yet. He's going to have to come in soon. When he does, he's going to go to the end of the longest line. Now he goes. Alexander Bird puts a foot down, follows him with Daniel Stevens in tow. Jamie McKnight dropped a position in 4th at the moment, and he'll be looking at trying to gain a position back as soon as he possibly can.
Well, this is going to be very interesting now because you've got Dave Kidman behind Jamie. Will he, return the favour with a little shoulder back?
Well, that's right. They're not in the same team, are they? So there's no teammate courtesy going on between the two.
Hey, I'm not too sure what's happened here, but we've got Kai sitting way back in 9. Not sure if he's had an accident. The front end looks a little bit average.
Let's see if I can find anything here.
Yeah, he's definitely got damage to the car.
When he come into the pits, he was right next to Dave, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's had an off track, so we'll jump back and have a look at this. So just having a look at the start, he's already carrying that damage, and see what's happened to him. He got that damage, I remember, when he spun at this part of the corner and he hit the wall, and yeah, he's just run really wide there at the same part.
He's off again. He's lost it again.
Man, tell him not to crash while I'm talking.
Yeah, he's looks like he's gone back to the pits.
Possible tow. You've definitely got the commentator's curse tonight, Bernie.
Yeah, it's pretty much my specialty. Yeah, he's pretty much lost it where Tom Kleeman did in the Audi, but he didn't hit the wall. He just went to the infield and got it towed back.
So we've got Alexander's taken over position from James Bell with Daniel and Jamie behind.
Yeah, and this is what the guys didn't want, isn't it? Is Alexander getting back out front because, 27 minutes to go. Last time through in this time, he pulled out a gap of over 8 seconds. As we see Jamie McKnight now looking at his possibilities of reigning in Alexander. Oh, as he hits the back of, who was that? Daniel Stevens.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Jump back and have a look at this. Try and get a different angle if we can on this, folks. So actually, I don't think Jamie did get him. I think he's actually lost it on the exit himself there, and spun. And what do you think's happened there, Wayne?
Yeah, he has, mate. He's just gone up on the ripple strip there or the curb, and the car's obviously got a bit loose. He's got on the throttle too early, and turned around, unfortunately. But obviously, good pressure from Jamie McKnight too. You know, he was filling the mirror. Maybe had Stevens sort of looking in the mirror rather than concentrating on hitting his marks and getting the power down smoothly.
Yeah, and Blair Walton's just come on to put out an apology to all drivers out there on the restart. Basically, on the restart, Blair's computer crashed, and fortunately, Blair, you didn't hit anyone, mate, so luck was on your side, but it's bad luck about the computer crashing, because Blair was the leading BMW driver, wasn't he? And he was in around about 6th position.
Yeah, that's a pity, mate. He was doing so well too.
Certainly
We've got,
was.
Jamie's made it past James Bell now, so now the fight continues. Just unfortunately, Alex has got quite a gap on him already.
Yeah, so Jamie McKnight is on the march. We'll see what sort of times he can pull out, because Alexander Bird's time last time through was a 141.4. We know this Mercedes is capable of the 141s, but I'm not sure if it's capable of the low 141s. Oh yeah, it is, I think. Its fastest time of 141.205. Riding with him at the moment, folks, just having a look at his wheel work. You can check out the sort of revs these cars are pulling and the speed by the tacho in the bottom left corner of your screen.
Be back in a second, guy.
No worries. So that gap is around about 2.3 seconds at the moment as they come across the line once more. We'll see what sort of time. So Alexander Bird did a 141.5 and Jamie McKnight a 141.428.
The last couple of laps have been nothing but action, Bernie. We've got Dan Stevens has moved up, Dave Kippen's moved up, we've also got Mark Lowe, he's moved up, Troy Allen, Roger Clark now too.
Yeah, Roger's in that BMW. He's used, have a look at the front of it. Oh, we've got Daniel Stevens around with a lot of damage to his car, and that's very unfortunate. Let's jump back and have a look at this. Yeah, he's pretty much done what his teammates done, and that is riding that ripple strip too much. And as I was saying, these cars are very stiffly sprung and straight into the other wall on the other side of the circuit. His teammate hit the wall on the outside of the circuit.
Yeah, just wondering, obviously with the car setup, haven't maybe got the springs soft enough, Bernie, so yeah, those MFR cars are definitely not liking the curbs.
No, these cars, the GT3s don't like riding the curbs, and you know, we've seen that a number of times tonight. They're very nervous, and well, not very nervous, but they can be upset very easily by doing that to them. So it's something the guys will probably pick up on as they get more kilometres under their belts in these cars.
Just looking at Jamie's car, it seems to definitely be just a little bit more settled over the curves, but Bernie, with it's just, you know, different driver styles or setup in the car. Maybe Jamie's found something slightly different to the guys at MFR.
Possibly, but the thing is, where the MFR guys are coming unstuck, they're actually got two wheels across the ripple strip and they're hitting the little whatever you call them, bumps, and that's what's upsetting those cars. The other one I saw was rear wheel into the grass in the Ferrari. That doesn't help, but generally if you look at Jamie, he's using some of the curb, but he's not being overly aggressive with it. Could also be throttle control and steering inputs.
Sorry, mate. We just had Bruce Duncan go around as well, mate, in the first chicanes. He actually put her up on two wheels there.
Awesome. We'll check that out. But have a look. This is in the same chicane where the other guys are having trouble, and we'll see if he's hitting those. Oh, no. Well, he lost that on the way in, didn't he?
Yeah.
There was no saving that the way that snapped. He's in trouble too. He's damaged that car. I'll tell you what, Alexander at the moment is as free as a bird. That's my pun for the night. 3 seconds is that gap back to Jamie McKnight.
Just looking through, trying to find a little bit of a battle pack at the moment. It's sort of, I think probably Dave Kidman and Mark Bowe, number 6 and 94. Probably, well actually, Mark's just lost a little bit of ground to him there.
Yeah, I'm watching Steve O'Connor here as he closes in on the BMW, and I reckon he's going to be making a move very, very shortly. Now, Steve's got to be careful here. He's had a couple of slowdowns when he gets behind people. He doesn't want to get another one, because each time he does, he's given these boys a free kick.
Yeah, that's right. Steve's definitely been, you know, he's had some speed. He's just sort of got caught out cutting the chicane as we come up. Let's see if he does it this time around.
Yeah, well, exactly right. But imagine where he'd be if he hadn't had those slowdowns, because he's definitely got the pace, and he's just tucking in here. We'll see as they come down the hill if he's going to have a crack down at Ravazzi here. He knows he can outbrake that BMW down the inside easily. That was a good move, Wayne.
Yeah, that was beautiful, mate, under brakes. Roger, obviously being a very experienced sim racer, gave race room and knew that Steve was going to outbrake him in that Ferrari.
Yeah, there's not much you can do to defend when your car's weaker under brakes than the car behind you. It's, you don't want to go deep and overextend yourself, because you're liable to keep on going off the track.
Got Steve there, Steve O'Connor, obviously with SRT, which is Gavin and Bruce's teammate.
Sorry, who was that?
Steve O'Connor, SRT. Team SRT is unfortunately Gavin Cox, which had to retire due to internet issues, and also Bruce Duncan. That's the 3-car team.
Oh, okay. Just seeing if where Bruce is. Bruce is circulating 1 lap down at the moment, and he's in a different livery. That's why I wasn't sure if he was a team member or not. And oh dear, it's been a long day.
Come back, guys. Just had to get a beverage.
Kai Sloggett's also in the pits by the looks of it, Wayne.
Yeah, it looks like he's put off the wheel, mate, and he's and retired.
Yeah, so that's the latest one. So we've lost Blair Walton due to hardware crashes. Tom Kleeman pulled that car over and retired it. Well, he destroyed the car and then retired it. Gavin Cox, well, he's timed out due to internet. Darren Goosey was our first retirement. And of course, you guys are up here in the box with me, so that doesn't count.
I tell you what, a lot of these guys are on the V8 supercars and they're certainly struggling. I think they need a little bit more seat time in these things because they're catching them out quite frequently.
Yeah, I'd expect as they get that seat time, we're going to see less issues with ripple strips and that sort of thing. But having a look at Jamie at the moment, he's in the low 141s, but once again Alexander Bird set a lap time of a 141.028. He's knocking on the door of that 140, and it'll be interesting to see if he can do that before the end of the night. Well, actually, he's already done it. He did a fastest time 140.845.
Well, he's got him in sight there, so he's still got enough time to get on him.
Yeah, he's got 16 minutes. And that's, sorry folks, that's about 9 to 10 laps of racing left.
Tell you the couple of guys that are kind of definitely impressed me is probably Troy Allen and Mark Lowe there, if I pronounce that right. But yeah, they just sort of chipped away. They've just chipped away, you know, and they've ended up there at the end of the race. Well, towards the middle and last bit of the race. So you got Dave there too. He's had his issues, but he's bounced back. Currently sitting in third.
Just riding on here with Jamie McKnight in the Mercedes. I was just having a look at how he's driving that car and seeing if I can spot any differences compared to the other guys. Yeah. One of the viewers is asking how I've got any voice left. Well, good question. I'm yawning a lot here, Edward. I'm just letting Wayne and Colin here carry this one.
Yeah, it certainly had its fair share of drama, that's for sure.
Certainly has.
These two at the front though, they're just faultless. Just driving it absolutely perfectly. Dave looks like he's settled into a good groove as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. Alexander Bird later will be in the 12 hour, and one of the drivers asked, well, are you just sorting the McLaren out for the 12 hour? And one of his team laughed and said, no, we're running the Porsche.
Oh wow, James Bell's has had a massive off into the wall. He'll be going to the pits for sure.
Yeah, once again, that was the same place we saw the other Ferrari go off. We'll go back and have a bit better look at a look here.
We'll let you off the hook tonight.
Yeah, I just want to have a look at this in slow-mo on turning, and we'll just have a look at where this thing brakes. He's basically coming down on the brakes. Now he's starting to turn the car in, and just as he turns it in, he's come across that ripple strip, and the back end's just kept on going around.
Yeah, the thing with where these engines are positioned, it's as soon as it lets go, that's the end of it. You're not catching it.
Yeah, so they suffer from that big pendulum effect. think the Porsche has a similar problem, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
He's still continuing on out there. He's probably figured he can get that car home with 12 minutes of, bloody, 12 minutes of racing left.
So Bernie, you commentating the 12-hour as well, mate?
No, mate, I go to bed after this, and the only 12-hour I've got is about 12 hours in bed. No, tomorrow I've got to, we're heading off to Sydney for the day, otherwise I'd be calling the Australian Super Skips tomorrow night. What about you, Colin? You running the 12-hour?
No, mate, I will not be.
Wayne, are you running it?
No, mate, no. I'll definitely be having a beer and watching it, but...
Okay. So that's going to be broadcast by V8's Online, I assume?
I think it's actually RaceBot doing it, Bernie.
Oh, okay. I might tune in and have a look at it myself if I'm still awake. I've run out of beer though, so all I've got is iced tea. Does that count?
Definitely not. Ooh, just looking at Jamie, got a little bit loose. It's saying about how well his car was handling over the curbs. He's got a bit loose over there. So the second last turn.
Yeah, he's definitely pushing,
yeah,
isn't he?
Yeah, time's running out.
Yeah, he gassed it up, didn't he? Just on the side of that ripple strip, but feeling the pressure now. That gap, 4.1 seconds. That slide, Wayne, it cost him a bit. His time was a 1:4:23.10, where Alexander Bird did a 1:41.094 once again. And this is what's doing it, is Alexander's so phenomenal and consistent in that McLaren. He's just not letting anyone have a look.
Yeah, his times look awesome.
Did you find out from one of the viewers there, Bernie, what team he's actually with, to give a bit of a shout out? Because he's driving sensational.
Yeah, I reckon he's, I'm guessing he's with FSR, but we'll ask.
Tell you what, Roger Clark's not letting Steve O'Connor off the hook here. He's still sort of within striking distance if Steve makes any mistakes.
So just put the call out, guys. Also, I need to find out what a Long Island iced tea is. Is that... Yeah, Alexander drives for Fusion Sim Racing.
Massive shout out to them because yeah, he's driving sensational. So best of luck to those boys and the team, mate, tonight at with the 12-hour.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, if they perform like they have tonight, they're going to be in with the shot, I think. So that gap now, 5.6 seconds, 9 minutes of racing to go here, folks, for round 2 of the Oceanic GT series presented by RacingLeagues.com.
You got Troy Allen's crept his way up to 5th after the run-in with, I think it was Steve O'Connor at the start.
Yeah, that's a good comeback drive, isn't it? He's actually up 3 positions from where he started tonight.
Yeah, I think it just takes time, get settled in the car and just keep punching out those laps.
Yeah, pretty much. You're going to go out and have a run in this series, Colin? At any point?
I did jump on earlier and have a few laps. But yeah, I need a lot more seat time myself. I've pretty much just been doing dev in the V8s, and yeah, these are a whole new beast.
Yeah, these days you sort of have to sort of specialise, don't you, if you want to do really well at some of these big league type races?
Yeah, the amount of practice time that you need to put in these, I mean, it all pays off in the end, but yeah, it takes quite a bit of time to get the pace out of them.
Yeah, exactly right, and to work out what you can and cannot get away with, as well as these cars are fairly technical in the way they are set up as well, aren't they?
That's right, and the Merc absolutely hates the curves and stuff like that, as you've seen tonight. You know, I'm kind of used to the V8s where you can jump the curves, so you got to kind of get that out of your head.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with the V8s. They're really stable, and they don't mind being thrown through the ripple strips and that sort of thing, where I think these cars are a little bit more gentlemanly, one would possibly say.
Yeah, that's right. She needs to stay on the grey stuff.
Speaking of gentlemanly, Edward Foster's got my back. He's told me I need vodka, tequila, rum, gin, Cointreau, sugar syrup, lemon juice and cola, and I can have myself a Long Island iced tea.
I'm pretty sure that's what I seen at the MFR pits, mate, after the race win there with Dan Stevens at the 500 there at Daytona.
Yeah, well, if they had any, I didn't get an invite. I did ask them, and they said no. The tradition is we just drink milk.
Milk with vodka.
Yeah. I tell you what, I think what we need up here, guys, is we need another button, so that we've got another button that we hit to call out another yellow to condense these guys up.
Yes, that would be perfect.
So I might have to tell the organisers to throw in 2 random safety cars.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. They spread out so quick, and then they just end up running a race on their own.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm looking through at the moment. There's absolutely no battles really going on. The closest one is Mark Gow, Troy Allen. Got Troy on screen at the moment. They're separated by around about 2 seconds is that gap. As far as the others go, if I bring this up for you folks, you can actually see the live gaps here. Jamie McKnight 7.6 seconds down, but he's 8.7 seconds up from David Kinmont. Mark Gow's 19 seconds behind David Kinmont. Troy Allen now 1.5 seconds and behind, and looking at the times, he has closed by 1/10 of a second last lap, but then the gaps start spreading out again, and yeah, this is the closest we've got here tonight is 1.5 second gap.
Troy's definitely quicker.
Troy Allen just went on the dirt then. Just went a bit wide.
He's absolutely pushing it, isn't he? Jump on board with him and just see the difference in his style compared to Jamie's, and quite honestly I can't really see it at the moment, but we've only gone through one corner. Yeah, I don't think Troy's being any more aggressive than what Jamie is out there.
There's definitely a fine line in these cars with how aggressive you can be, because it will punish you.
Yeah, and they normally punish you very quickly, don't they? I do like the sound of the Mercedes though. It's probably one of the nicest sounding cars out there, although I must say my favourite has always been the McLaren.
Yeah, certainly a beast.
Yeah, I used to run one of these years ago in iRacing, and then they did this whole balance of power thing and pretty much wrecked the McLaren for a bit there, but might have to have a look at it again, because Alexander's making it look like it's a very pleasurable car to drive. Then again, it's probably his skill levels making it look like that.
That's right, and yeah, Jamie's lost sight of him altogether now, so yeah, good fight for him, but he just got away.
Yeah, Jamie's lost his opportunity at that pit stop, didn't he, when Daniel Stevens jumped ahead of him.
But yeah, that's where that second yellow is right on to just chuck, get them all up together, you know.
Yeah. Just riding with Alexander Bird here. We haven't done a lap in the McLaren, and it's a good time to do it with 2 minutes of racing to go. So looking at the week ahead, folks, on RRTV, this will be our last telecast this week. Our next one will be Thursday night for the NASCAR Thursday Night Thunder. So I should be fully recharged by then, Wayne.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Catch up on a few Z's and get ready for a bit of NASCAR action again.
Yeah, the Xfinity boys definitely turned it on, and that race last Thursday night was a ripper.
I think they also got the trucks on the, is it the Monday or Tuesday, Bernie? It's not broadcasted, but very popular.
Yeah, Monday they have the trucks on Monday night. K&N, I think that series is on Tuesday night. Then they've got the Xfinity Thursday night, and then the Cup Series once a month on the Saturday afternoons. So here we go, as Alexander now just gets past Roger, and
Well in the pit.
1 minute remaining.
I'll tell you what, if the folks at home want to see how to get around this track in a GT3 car, you know, right along with Alexander here, this is just flawless, mate. Hitting his marks every corner, every lap. What a drive.
Yeah, that's why I thought we'd jump in with him and do a lap around there in that McLaren, because he's just, as you said, faultless drive here. He's just knows exactly where to place this car and how far he can push it. So 25 seconds to go. This should be the last lap here, folks, and racing. The other thing with the Thursday Night Thunder, starting next Thursday, we're actually going to start 15 minutes earlier, and we're going to do our first 15 minutes is going to be the race wrap-up of the truck series, and it'll include a 5-minute highlight package.
That'll be good to see, because as I said before, obviously the trucks are very, very popular. Is that also a fixed series with the trucks, Bernie? Or?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's a fixed series. It's a feeder series in for the Xfinity series, and then...
Sorry to cut you off, mate. Just got Alexander coming down. He's flashing the lights, mate. He's obviously pumped with his effort tonight, as he should be.
Yeah, he lets the flames out. He'll get the checkered flag this time through. A flawless drive by Alexander Bird, Wayne.
Come on, mate. Pop the tyres. Put on a show.
I think he's already put that show on. You can see Jamie McKnight now coming across. He ended up being behind over 10 seconds at the end of this. As he comes across the line now, that gap was 10.1 seconds, 12.5 seconds, sorry. David Kinmont, well, he's coming through next, and he's got his teammate behind him, but they're not racing for position here. Then fourth home will be Daniel Stevens, who's 77 seconds behind the leader. If you're wondering what that looks like, folks, well, you can see right here, because he's only coming up the back part of the circuit now.
Got a burnout. I don't know how he's going to go with the traction.
Can you actually burn out these things?
I don't think so, with the traction and the stability control. I did just hear Dave Kidman saying he had 2.5 litres left coming over the... he's run out of fuel, so he can't do one.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, you can always turn the traction control off. I'll tell you what, Steve O'Connor coming home in fourth. What a fight, mate.
Yeah, good effort there, wasn't it? And Mark Gow also is coming down to finish in the Xbox One Mercedes here. Just ahead of him, though, you can see that's Norman Clark and that Bruce Duncan, they were actually racing for position, 1 lap down. Norman held him out there in the BMW and took 8th position. All right, let's go through the final finishing order, folks, so you can see where your favourite driver finished tonight. So absolutely flawless drive there by Alexander Bird tonight. He led 32 of the 34 laps here, and the gap, as we were saying, 12.5 seconds. He also got the fastest time of the night, 140.845. Jamie McKnight, he comes home in 2nd position. David Kinmond 3rd, 4th Daniel Stevens, 5th Mark Gow, 6th Steve O'Connor, 7th Roger Clark, 8th Troy Allen. Norman Clark, he comes home in 9th. Bruce Duncan comes home in 10th. Finishing in 11th tonight was James Bell 2. Kai Sloggett finishes in 12th. 13th, Blair Walton. And we're in the retirements now. Tom Kleeman 14th, 15th. Gavin Cox, Darren Goosey 16th. Wayne Pengilly, you held out Colin there to come home in 17th. Colin, you finished last.
Story of his life.
Hence why I'm in here.
Yeah, fantastic.
So we've got a couple of the guys there in the green room. So let's get them up here and have a chat.
I'm assuming Birdman is Alexander Bird.
So
soon find out. Hi Birdman, I'm assuming you're Alexander Bird.
Yeah.
Yep, fantastic drive, mate. That was an absolutely dominant performance.
Yeah, thanks. I think I just did a good job of the fuel saving, to be honest.
We heard you've run out of fuel when you're trying to do a burnout. Is that right?
Yeah, so I finished with 0.5 litres, and I think Jamie said over the comms he finished with 0.2. So you can see, so I saved all the way from the safety car, and I think he went flat out for a bit, then saved, and he then had to back off really badly, or really large amount at the end. Where I didn't, so that made the difference.
Yeah, Jamie had to carve his way through the field to try to get a look in for you, where it looked like once you got out front, you could just manage that gap and the fuel load.
Yeah, there was one point where he did a couple of really quick laps, and I'm going like, oh man, please tell me he hasn't, managed to already save his fuel and he's going to come for me, because I think he pulled me back to 2.5 at one point. And then, suddenly the gap just went 4 seconds, 6 seconds, 8 seconds. So, okay, he's out of fuel. So, but yeah, after the safety car, when the safety car came out, like I didn't think I was going to be able to go the whole way without a splash and dash, and I was kind of wondering if I should maybe not stop on the safety car. As it turned out, when I went in, so did pretty much everybody else. So it wasn't too much of a big.
Yeah, I think there's only a couple that did stay out, but everyone else followed you in. First time we've seen the McLaren in this series out there, and what's it like to drive? It looks like it's handling pretty well.
Yeah, I think it's really good for this track. Well, I mean, so I haven't really raced a McLaren before, but it's certainly really nice if you are really, really gentle. I found any time I tried to actually push the car, it'd just try and kill you. But if you stay within yourself, then it's really nice. Yeah. And obviously it's good. Like when the pace car came off, the amount of power and speed it has in a straight line. We came out of Tosa up the hill, and I was able to just step out past the Ferrari where I probably couldn't have otherwise, and that gave me an advantage.
Yeah, and what an advantage it was. Just going to hand you over to Wayne and see if he's got any more questions for you, mate.
I think, like you said, Bernie, just absolutely flawless show you put on tonight, mate. Just looking through your time, so consistent. I don't think you put a foot wrong. Pretty much in the 41s was pretty much your average, mate. Low to mid. Obviously, sort of had a little bit of chat on YouTube. You're preparing for the 12-hour tonight, I believe.
I think, yeah. we're going to drive the Porsche, me, Blake Neck and Josh Burden. I probably haven't got as much practice in that as I need, but if it goes as well as this did with minimal McLaren practice, it should be okay.
Definitely, mate. So just you want to have a bit of a shout out to the team? Obviously, you're in the 12 hour tonight, and any sponsors there?
Yeah, so I drive for Fusion Sim Racing. Our sponsors are Dripping Paint Graphics, Amazon Web Services, and oh god,
We're putting on the spot here.
Yeah. Okay, you gotta wait for me.
That's all right.
This is truly tragic.
It's all right. If you take too long, we're going to go and paint our own signs on your car.
It'll be Eclipse signage would be the last one, which just I blanked on. But we don't actually have a McLaren paint. You can direct complaints to Scott Stevens.
So are you planning on trying to do more of the GT3 series on the Saturday nights, or?
Yeah, I saw it last week and had some stuff on, didn't race, and probably regretted not doing it. Next weekend I'm away, but I think I will be coming back on the regular. I think the format's really good where you just have to fuel save to make the 60 minutes on one stop, which makes it really interesting. It's not just a sprint race. It becomes a consistency, who can fuel save the best in the least intrusive way, things like that.
Did the safety car sort of worry you there, Alex? Like, were you sort of prepared for it? Or I seen Dan Stevens. Obviously, he pitted early, and I think if he didn't have this, I think he had 2 spinouts, didn't he, Bernie?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And you just sort of wonder what could have been. He jumped, I think, about 3 or 4 cars in the pit. There was Bill, I think yourself, and then Stevens. So. Did that sort of worry you where you're at when that safety car come out?
There was some concern because we were right. Like I said, I finished with 0.5 litres and I brimmed the car in the stop. So if it had been 1 lap earlier, I would have had to do a splash and dash. And at that point, that becomes a concern. So, I was able to save a good bit of fuel. Like after the safety car came in, my fuel calculator was saying I needed no more. So started pushing, and then because Jamie and I were going so fast, we added a lap onto the race, and so then I needed to save even more, which became more of a concern. Suddenly it's saying you need 4 litres, and so then I was back to lift and coast. But yeah, I was relieved to get that far in the first stint without the safety car because I thought there was a chance I wouldn't have to make a second stop.
All right. Well, we'll leave it there with you, mate. Best of luck tonight. I wish I could say drink some of that champagne, but unfortunately you won't because you've got to prepare for tonight, mate. So all the best to yourself and the team, and hope to see you obviously next week because you said you're away, but the week after, mate. Definitely hope to see you out there.
Brilliant. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Mate.
Yeah, we've got quite a build-up down there of people waiting for interviews. I think for time constraints, we might only interview the podium. What do you think about that, guys?
Definitely, mate. Let's get Jamie up here. I'd like to have a chat with him and just see where he's at and what he's going to do to prepare for Alexander if he's going to continue to be in this series.
Yeah, no worries. I'll bring him up and you can have a chat.
Jamie, Wayne, Colin and Bernie in the comms booth here.
Evening, boys.
Great race, mate. Great race.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Alex just had, or I like to call him Mr. Bird. He had something special tonight with that car, and I really tried to catch him, especially after the safety car. You probably saw I kept him within about 3 seconds, but then I started to, as you do some mathematical equations as I was going around, and I realised that I needed to throttle off big time or I wasn't going to make it. So I don't know if you guys saw it, but I was on the clutch everywhere, mate. I was inventing ways to save fuel. So awesome win for Alex. Another great race. I really enjoyed it. Only had one off track, and that's because I had to take a shortcut to save fuel. And yeah, I was really happy with it. And just thanks to RRTV and racing leagues for this great series.
Did you get a bit worried there, Jamie, in the pits? Obviously, we've seen that Dan Stevens, he pitted early. I don't know if you noticed that, but he did pit quite early, and then he managed to jump you in the pits. Was that a bit of a concern? I mean, he had his issues. He obviously turned the car around, unfortunately, another 2 times after that. But, you know, with his own accord. But did that sort of concern you when he jumped you where he might be at with fuel?
Yeah, look, my voice attack told me to put 54 litres in, but I ignored it and I put 60 in. So the first thing I thought is he's got the same fuel program as me, and he's gone with 54 because he only just jumped me. But my concern was that Alex was going to really get away and I wasn't going to have a chance to even try and catch him because one of the other guys who's quite a nifty little driver too, James Bell, he decided to go along in the strategy. He didn't come in, so I had him in between me and Alex and Dan. So I was a bit concerned I was going to get held up too much and it was going to be a problem. But I was able to get round him pretty quick.
And obviously yourself, Jamie, you're racing in the 12 hour tonight.
Boys, I'm racing the 12 hour tonight. I'm racing the Penn Power V8s at 3 o'clock in the morning at Snetterton. And hopefully I'll have a wife left tomorrow about midday, so yeah, that'd be good.
We're just talking to Alexander before too. Obviously they're going to do the 12 hour as well. So I dare say you're going to see him on the track again, mate, and maybe you can get the better of him this time.
Well, mate, he's a bloody good steer, I'll tell you that much. And David Kidmon's pace was really good too. I couldn't afford to fuel save too much because he was, I had him about 8 or 9 seconds behind me, but if I throttled off too much, he'd catch me a second. So I had to make sure I didn't lose concentration and have a spin or something. So and it was in the early part. Troy Allen too, he was pretty quick, and so was Kai Sloggett. So unfortunately, a couple of guys had a few issues here and there. Some with technicals, some with internet, some with a spin here or there. But I think if we can get a few more people in the next couple of weeks, I think Bathurst will probably held a few people off tonight. I nearly didn't do it because I was thinking I probably should have a sleep. But, racing got the better of me, so okay.
Bernie, Colin, you got any questions for Jamie?
The only one is, are you mental? How many races are you doing tonight, mate?
Bernie, that's the exact same question my wife asked me about an hour ago. Followed up by, what's wrong with you?
No, it was a good drive tonight, Jamie, in all seriousness. And we were watching you. Quite a few guys were coming unstuck on those ripple strips, and it looked like you were using them, but you weren't abusing them. And but how do you find the setup of the Merc? Is it a very forgiving car compared to a V8 supercar and the curbs?
No, it's probably less forgiving, to be honest, as far as the curbs are concerned. I found that a little trick with the setup with it, and I won't go into too much detail, but if you keep it softer, not harder, in the springs, get a little bit of room to move, make sure it doesn't bounce when it lands, you can actually fly off the curves as long as you get on, like what I like to say, the inside half, as long as you don't try and go right over them. If you try and go right over the curbs and abuse them, as you said, it can launch the Mercedes and it can bounce around and spin. So I sort of take the VRS setup and then I soften it up a bit and do a few things with it. It seems to be working well. So I've only driven a Mercedes, 4 or 5 times now. I'm getting really comfortable with it, and it's just a beautiful car the way it handles. And when I wanted a fuel save, it really behaved well. When I put the clutch in, it didn't jerk around. It was nice and smooth through the corners. So I love it.
Yeah, well, you're definitely at home in it, that's for sure. And but we should let you go. We've got one more interview to go. But before we do you want to give a shout out to all your sponsors?
Of course, WP Concreting and their wonderful management for the support they give us. And also West End Mazda, of course, which I'm affiliated with. We've got some great sponsors there covering all our teams, and RRTV, of course, and Racing Leagues. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Yeah, best of luck in all the races you're doing tonight, Jamie.
No worries, boys. I'm going to go and suck up to my wife a bit.
See you, buddy.
Good luck with that.
See you, boys.
He says it how it is, doesn't he?
It's a busy schedule.
So
I would have find out if he's still got a wife tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. Our final interview for tonight, folks, is with David Kinmont. He come home third tonight. And Colin, you've been very quiet. Maybe we'll throw you into this interview.
No worries.
All right, bringing him up.
G'day, Dave. How you going, mate?
Excellent, thanks you.
Good, buddy. We got Wayne and Bernie in here. Just wanted to have a chat to you about tonight's race. How'd the cars feel?
Car felt great. I haven't driven a GT3 car in probably about a year or so while I've been trying to develop my skills in the V8. So obviously it's quite different. Points in a lot easier, but I got caught out a couple of times tonight by it being a little bit more finicky under brakes. When you're right on the edge anyway. Did a couple of spins and one half spin, which ruined my chance to fight with Jamie, but to get third after not really using this car at all, I can't complain.
No, we noticed the Mercs particularly were, as they were getting off those ripple strips, getting a bit sideways. You just got to be really careful, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I turned it directly in front of Dan Stevens, and then I got a little bit squirrely under brakes on the restart lap as well, and let Mark Gow past, and had to get past him again, so lost time to Jamie there. But after that, once I realised I had the pace to the people behind me and would only just be pegging Jamie, I just eased off and made sure that I was easy on fuel home. I finished with nearly 3 litres of fuel.
What kind of fuel burn did you have?
I think it was only about 2.5 or something like that. I can't remember exactly. My telemetry's turned off already. So, but yeah, I was doing it fairly easy on fuel just to make sure I didn't have to do a splash and dash.
Fantastic drive tonight, Dave, and it looked like you're having a good time out there. I've also got Wayne here. Do you want to speak to him? I'm not sure if you want to talk to him. Maybe you just want to talk to me.
I think I'd rather talk to you, Bernie. The amount of crap Wayne and I give one another.
Come on, mate. Don't be like that. Probably one of the biggest things I'd like to ask Dave is obviously, first of all, Dan Stevens pitting early. Were you aware of it? Did it concern you? It was obviously a bit of a talk up here. We were able to grab Stevens and under the yellow and have a bit of a chat with him, and he was looking quite good. Where he positioned himself pitting early. We were actually surprised he pitted again later through the race. But in the pits, he jumped, obviously, Jamie, but had a few issues. So was that a concern? And then probably the other question I had was just the little ambitious, I guess, move within the first sort of lap with Jamie, your sort of take on that.
With Dan, it was a bit of a surprise for his early pits. The word over the comms was that he had left his quali fuel in. So I don't know if you heard different in the interview of him, but it actually worked out remarkably well for him, and it's certainly worth thinking about with the competition caution in the future if he can still come out ahead of a few people and then benefit from the short stop. It obviously was a bit of a concern that, okay, now he's 2 cars ahead of me. I got to get past him now while still fuel saving. But unfortunately, he got a little bit loose coming out of a hairpin, and that problem went away. As for Jamie's move, I assume you mean in the opening few corners?
It seemed to be a little bit of hip and shoulder there. I mean, look, it seemed to be a pretty fair pass, but semi-aggressive early on. But I suppose that's the way to make spots, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd expect nothing less from Jamie. I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I mean, he's assertive, he takes the position, and you know where he's going to be, what he's going to do. When he went up the inside of turn 1, I thought I might be able to follow him around here, and then when we got to turn 3, he wasn't quite aware that I was still alongside him quite so much, so obviously lost the position to Kai there through that as well. Much like in the V8s last night, losing a position on the last lap to the Redback boys. But, you know, that's racing. Perfectly happy with the move, and we'll continue to race hard.
Good to see you on the podium anyway, mate. So good drive.
Thank you very much, mate. Cheers.
Yeah, before we let you go, though, Dave, do you want to give a shout-out to all your sponsors?
Oh, crikey. With a manager in here, I better remember them all, hadn't I?
No pressure.
Oh, what do we got? We got Wayne Pengelly or WP Concreting. We've got West End Mazda, Auto Kings, and RRTV. So yeah, thank you to everyone. Couldn't do it without you all, and thanks to the entire team for being so supportive with me jumping in the car last minute. Help and recommendations were not light on the ground, and it paid dividends.
Yeah.
And probably just a little word of warning, Alexander will be off next week, but he said he's going to continue on with the series, so definitely going to be one to watch.
Yeah, we're going to have to figure out how to try and peg that McLaren. I do know from when I did race GT3s a couple of years ago that every car has its own strengths for different tracks. At least back then, the McLaren was always good on high-speed tracks like this one, so we'll have to wait and see what other tracks bring.
Fantastic. Well, thanks, Dave, and we'll let you go off now and celebrate with your team. Well-earned third position there, so we'll probably catch up with you next week.
Thank you very much, Bernie. See you later, guys.
Yep. Can you also let the guys know below that we won't be doing any further interviews?
Not a problem.
Thanks, buddy. So, guys, your first call tonight on RRTV for the GT3s. What's your final thoughts of the race?
I'd have to say, all round not too bad. I think adding another caution in there would definitely bunch them up and keep the action going. But overall, it was a good race.
Well, I think just touching on that too, Colin, like you said, you've got AOSC that does that, and they've had great success with that. So it's entertaining for the viewers, it's entertaining for the drivers. Hopefully the series will continue to grow and we'll get a few extra drivers in there. But there's no doubt that there's still a good caliber of driver that's in this series. Look, we've seen it tonight with Alexander, but I'm sure Jamie and a few of the other PSS guys, I'm sure Jamie will get them on board and they'll come out swinging in a couple of weeks' time when Alexander returns.
Yeah, fantastic. It'd be great to get more people involved in this, because from what I've seen in the last two series rounds, the standard of driving's high. They're courteous, they're respectful, and makes for a good night of racing. So if anyone's watching and thinking about joining a league, check this one out and come and do some GT3 racing with us. All right, guys. Well, I think that's the end of the night. I'd like to give a shout out to all the viewers out there who have joined us once again tonight. Hope you've enjoyed this coverage of the RacingLeagues.com Oceanic GT series. It'll be back next Saturday night as per usual. Our next broadcast on RRTV will be on Thursday night, starting 15 minutes early. We're going to cover off the trucks first, and then we're going to be calling the Xfinity race. Then, of course, Friday night is the Australian Online Supercar Championship. They will be back, and it's a great way to end the week. So once again, Wayne, Colin, thanks for joining me tonight. If you guys hadn't have jumped in, it would have been a very lonely night for me.
No worries, buddy.
Thanks for having us.
All right. On behalf of Wayne, Colin, I'm Bernie. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend, folks. And if you're racing in the 12-hour, hope you get plenty of sleep tomorrow. But until then, see you later.